And welcome back to Real Talk Sports with Rico. Today we are talking about Jets, Jets, and it starts with Aaron Rodgers. We're looking at a CBS Sports article right now suggesting that Aaron Rodgers is one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league that has something to prove. And I don't think Aaron Rodgers has anything to prove to anybody except for himself. He's coming off an Achilles injury, and I think he's going to be ready to roll. He's been looking very good in camp. He looks to be in sync with Garrett Wilson, who has had 2 straight years of 1,000 yards receiving. And I think that that is going to continue and take off some more. He's going to remind you a lot of Devontae Adams that is over in Vegas, once paired with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. So I think that they are going to have quite the connection this year. And I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to lift the Jets. I think that that defense, if you could just give them 21 to 24 points a game, I think the Jets would have probably won a lot more games than they had in the past. And so, as we look at some of the question marks for this particular Jets team going into this one, I think the biggest thing is going to be the offensive line. I mean, they spent a lot of money this offseason to go over here and get some big pieces. They've got Morgan Moses, they've got Tyron Smith, John Simpson. So they've got some players on this front line that you hope are going to protect Aaron Rodgers. And so you hope they're connected enough and ready to go to protect him. I think that that is going to be key number one for the Jets. And they're still going to need to push some people out the way so they can have that established running game. Next, we're going to talk about the defense for the Jets. And so I think defensively, the Jets are in a good situation. I think the only thing that is a bit questionable is what is going on with Hassan Reddick. Obviously, they traded for him, but they did not get a deal going. And so he's very unhappy. He's requested a trade. There are thoughts that he could be perhaps traded to a team like the Cleveland Browns. Who knows? But either way, it doesn't look like this is going to be a good fit. And it looks like that particular relationship is off to a rocky start. So, that's going to be a little challenging, especially for the Jets, bringing him in, expecting that they were going to get that edge rushing presence. So that's something to be looked at for the Jets this upcoming season. And then respectively, talking about the playmakers, I just talked about Garrett Wilson and how dynamic he's looked in camp with Aaron Rodgers. And then Breece Hall. I think that Breece Hall is now fully going to be available and ready to go after that knee injury. They had brought Dalvin Cook in, if I'm not mistaken. They were thinking that Breece Hall was going to take some time to really come back from his knee injury, but he didn't look like he missed a beat. And I think he's going to make a ton of plays for them in the passing game. I think he's also going to make a ton of plays in the running game. Just talked about the fact that they went ahead and they fixed that offensive line. So I think that that's going to help Breece Hall a lot. And then I love the fact that they go out and they get Mike Williams over from the Chargers. And I think that he's going to be huge. He just got cleared from his torn ACL. And man, Mike Williams made a lot of big play catches for the Chargers. And you'd have to think that that is going to be something that Aaron Rodgers is going to love to get. And it's not like Mike Williams has to be the most consistent wide receiver out there. In fact, that was one of the, I think the things that was really talked about when he was with the Chargers, is the fact that he just wasn't as consistent as they wanted to have him. But in this particular offense, I think he just has to be a big play wide receiver for them. And I think that he can do that because he's always made these spectacular catches. Not a guy that I would say that I'm going to run something for every single down, but to stretch up the defense, I think that this is going to be huge. You pair that with Alan Lazard, who I think Mike Williams is a better deep threat than him. And then he's got some pretty good tight ends, with Tyler Conklin. He's going to be out there. And so I think that this is going to help them a lot. And, I think that the Jets are in a good situation to move forward. And so with that being said, I think it's less pressure off the Jets. I expect for them to win over 10 games this particular year. I think defensively, they're going to be just fine. The offensive line, I think, improves from where it was at that 30th, 27th ranking. And again, just talking about Tyron Smith, Morgan Moses, John Simpson coming over. I think that that's going to help a lot. Mike Williams coming over with Garrett Wilson is going to help them offensively. Aaron Rodgers, who you know is going to be a Hall of Famer at some point, I think he's going to come back with a lot of fuel. So, yeah, this team is a team that I expect to be at the top of this particular division. I know that they're right there tied with the Dolphins, and they actually have the Bills over top of this team, but I don't think that that's where it's going to happen to fall for the Jets this season. So let me know in the comments what you're thinking. I think good things ahead for the Jets. And as usual, this is your host, Rico, with Real Talk Sports. And we will be back for another show. You can catch us on Spotify. You can also catch us on YouTube as well. Thank you to the sponsors out there. And we will see you on the next one. Peace, peace, peace.